Everybody, Diana here at Heartfelt Creative. Welcome to another episode of Good Gadgets. Earlier in the week, like Monday maybe, my friend Barbara, well, let me tell you this. If you go over to my Facebook group, Sew in Common, SEW in Common, because we all have so much in common as stitchers, right? You will see a post of a beautiful little 3-yard quilt that was made by my friend Barbara. And in there, she says something about what a pain it is to have to square up all of these blocks. And I couldn't agree with her more. Squaring up your blocks can be a royal pain, right? But you've all heard the saying that once you square up one block, you need to square up all the blocks in that piece so that they're all the same. And so it got me to thinking. I'd actually been thinking about one of these products last week, and I went and had someone demonstrate it for me because I couldn't get it to work for me. Once again, it's the left-handed thing. It's the way the brain works or something, but I couldn't get it to work. So I went to my local quilt shop, which is a couple hours from here, but that's my local, and had them demonstrate it for me. And I still didn't get it after they demonstrated it for me. And so I actually looked up the video from the company, and now I get it. And I like it a lot more. But so what I did is I got together 3 different square up rulers for our blocks, our half square triangles, that kind of thing, and thought I would show you those today in Good Gadgets. And I will put links here in the description so that you can look them up, get more information, all of that. So one of these is a product, or the way I've been squaring up my blocks forever. One of them is a product that I got a few years ago and really wanted to use because I have a friend who thinks it's the best thing in the world and loves it, and I couldn't get it to work for me, but now I can. And then the other one is something I've just been using for about a month or so, and it's my new favorite. I love it. But all of these products and all these ways work really well. You will find one probably that works best for you, that you like best. And that's what's important, is that you find something that kind of takes the drudgery out of squaring up your blocks, okay? If you have a method that you use that you find slick and easy and quick and you love it and you want to share it, post a comment here. Go over and post a comment at Sew in Common on Facebook. We'd love to hear it. I mean, we all can use that information. I'm of the opinion you're never too old to learn something new. Try to learn something new at least every week, if not every day, and take in all the information and sort it out for yourself and use what works for you. So the products I'm going to show you today are basically square up rulers. So guess what? They're all square. Imagine that. So one is and I have these in a bazillion sizes. Let me get these on here. I even have larger ones for larger blocks too. I have this type in all of these sizes, from small to big. And like I said, I even have bigger ones. I have one that will square up 12-inch blocks. And then there is this one called the Block Lock. Can you see that? Maybe better that way. Block Lock. This was the one I had trouble with, but it was me, because everybody that uses this product thinks it's the best thing in the world. And now that I know how to use it and got it to work, yeah, I like it a lot. I'm going to use it a lot more now. And then the other one I'm going to show you is by, y'all know Quilt in a Day. Y'all know Eleanor Burns. She's such a charming lady, isn't she? I've followed Eleanor Burns for decades, literally. She is the one that taught so many of us how to strip piece. She's fun. She's super knowledgeable. And so her product is quilt in the day, a quilt in a day. That's her thing. A quilt, you can do a quilt up in a day. It's this one that I have is the 6.5-inch triangle square up ruler. And so I'll show you, that's the other product. This is the newest one that I've been using. I adore this one. I really love this one. But that's for me. You might, my friend Joyce would tell you, nee, block lock all the way. She's team block lock. That's totally cool. Be team block lock. Be team quilt in a day. Be team regular type square up ruler. From like, so these are from OmniGrid. These are all from OmniGrid. I love OmniGrid and I'll show you why. Then these were given to me. This is of course from my favorite designer, Tula Pink. And so although I don't use it a lot, it's so pretty. Look, it's got the unicorn on it and I love it. So it's always in my little tray of rulers just so I can look at it. But actually sometimes if I want one, I think this is 4.5 inches. 4 or 5, let's see. Yeah, 4.5. I do use it. I mean, I love it. It works perfect. But I have so many of these OmniGrid ones that I tend to grab them. And then I got this one in a subscription box and it's Cute Cuts from Riley Blake. I think this is Lori Holt. I think that's who this one is. And it works perfectly too. So I'm going to show you these 3 ways and maybe that will help you pick a way that will work best for you, or maybe it'll help you pick a new way to square up your blocks. Maybe you've used one of these techniques and you'd like to try something new. Maybe one of these will help you out. Okay, so I'm going to flip the camera over so you can see from overhead. Alrighty, so I have myself a little half square triangle. And I'm just gonna, I didn't snip off my dog ears, but I'm gonna do that. There. All right, so I've got my half square triangle, set that right there. And the first one I'm gonna show you is the type that I've just used these forever. And it's your more typical square ruler. So those are my 2 specialty ones that I was telling you about, my Tula and my Cute Cuts, which I do believe is Lori Holt, but these are the OmniGrid ones. I've got a small one for when I'm doing tiny squares. I love it. This is a 6-inch one, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, this one is 6-inch. This one is 7 or 8. 7.5. This one's 7.5. Is that right? Yep, 7.5. And I'll tell you why I really love these from OmniGrid. It's because look at how easy it is to see the marks, because they have kind of this yellow stuff on them that really allows you to see the lines. It's got your great diagonal line right across, which is very important with this type of ruler to have that diagonal line. So it's there. You can see it there. You can see it there. And I'm going to show you these other 2 too, these more specialty ones from the designers. This is the Cute Cut one. I like this one too, because that blue diagonal line, that blue on it really makes it easy to see. The easier the markings are to see when you're squaring up, I feel is a good thing. And then this one from Tula actually has your diagonal going in both directions. Actually, this one from Cute Cuts does as well. Okay. So really important to be able to see your lines when you're squaring up. And then, like I said, I have bigger ones too. Is this one? This one is from Creative Grids. It is, what is this, a 9.5 inch. This one's a 9.5 inch. And I like it as well for large. And I have one, it's a Creative Grids as well. And it's for 12-inch, but see that nice, you can see that nice diagonal line there, which makes it really easy when you're, and this one is pretty easy too. This one now, these little frosted areas, these are bumpy on the other side, or not bumpy, maybe a little rough, not rough like sandpaper, but see, you can hear it like so. That's on just the clear, but you can hear that because it's roughed up. But the nice thing about it is that keeps this one. See, I'm pushing and that's not moving. So that's nice about these Creative Grids. The other thing I like about all Creative Grid rulers and templates is, see the QR code down here? If you snap that with your camera on your phone, it will take you directly to a video about the ruler and other information. And I love that they have that right on the ruler. I think it might be on the packaging too, but to have it there, so I've always got it. I don't have to go look for it. And that's a really nice scenario that Creative Grids does. So I'm going to bring in my half square triangle. Boy, that really needs some squaring up too. That's kind of rough. So with this type, you put your diagonal line right on the diagonal of your square. See, boom, boom. Okay. So you find what you want to square it up to. So I'm going to square up to 4 inches. So that's my 4-inch right there. And I put my diagonal on there. Now, this really helps if you use, with this scenario, it really helps if you have a rotating mat. I will tell you that it makes it much easier. Oh, look, my big one is under here too. Let me just go ahead and show it to you. Yeah, it's Creative Grids too. That's my big 12.5-inch one from Creative Grids. And I love this one when I'm squaring up my final blocks, you know, my finished squares. Alrighty. So I'm gonna bring this down. I'm on my 4-inch here in my corner. I've got my diagonal going there. Cut. Oops, this mat's kind of big and that's in the way. Turn, make sure it stayed. And so I've got that done. So it was like this. Now I'm going to rotate it and get my 4. Hang on, there we go. Get my 4 in the corner, get that on the line again. And I look pretty good there. I'm going to try this with my right hand. I'm going to go really slow so I don't cut my fingers off. And there I have a beautiful squared up block to 4 inches. And that works fine. This one, you have to make sure to find your point. You have to line up. And like I said, this is tried and true. I've been doing this method forever and a day, right? Forever. And I like it. I've always used it. But let's look at the next one. Let's look at the block. So with the block, again, you've got your block. Let me get rid of my dog ears. There we go. Now, with the block, there's some things you have to understand about your block. You need to have, according to their instructions, you have to have your seam pressed to one side, not open. So it needs to be pressed to one side. Then you're going to feel it. And so on this side, you can feel your seam right there. No seam on this side, right? So on the side that has no seam, you put the side of the ruler that says block lock on that side. And what you do is you bump this. There's a channel in this ruler. Can you see it right here? It looks frosted. There's actually, maybe you can kind of tell here, there's a little cutout groove there. And so you put your block lock on that seam. And once it's on that seam, see, it's not going anywhere. It's locked onto that seam. So what you want to do is you want to know what you want to square up to, and I'm going to square up to 4 inches. So let me make sure that I have, because I'm a lefty, I may have to. And the nice part about this is that channel on that seam, you can just slide it. But I need to make sure that I have it. Okay. Give me just a second. Like I told you, this is new for me. Whoops, nope, that's the wrong side. It's got to be on this side. There, it's locked up. And I want to do it to 4 inches. Oh, I was afraid I was going to do this. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm just trying to make sure that I have it locked up. There we go. Okay, now I'm in good shape. All right, now I'm in good shape. Phew, phew. Okay, so with this ruler, so you're going to put your channel on your seam. So your logo is going to be on the non-seam side, okay? Now, here's 4 inches and here's 4 inches. I don't care what fabric is out here at the moment. What I care about is that I have fabric on this side of the 4 inch and on this side of the 4 inch, okay? So I'm gonna put my fingers, they said if you do that, there we go. Because I need to turn it around now for me to cut it as a lefty. There we go. So I have fabric on this side of my 4 inches and on this side of my 4 inches. And I can slide it down a little bit. I don't need a lot of fabric there. I just want there to be fabric on both sides. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and I'm locked into that seam. So see, it's locked in. I am going to make a cut here, a cleanup cut here, and a cleanup cut here. Alrighty. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this. I'm supposed to be able to slide it. There we go. I can't, it's this rotating mat is my problem. It doesn't like to let things slide on it. All right, so I'm going to slide it down now and line it up perfectly on my 4 and my 4. So now I'm just going to trim the rest. So I'm lined up here on my 4 inch line and here on my 4 inch line. There we go. And I'm done. And look at what a beautiful 4 inch square I have right there. So this is pretty easy. I just, and I know that people that use this ruler think there is nothing better in the world than the block lock. And I will tell you now that I understand that I have to have the logo on the side that doesn't have the seam. So again, I'm pressed to one side. I can feel my seam here, right? I can feel my seam, no seam. Logo goes to the no seam side. There we go. And you're supposed to be able to, I think it's because my square is little and this is too big, but normally on a bigger block, this slides along your seam and it's really easy, but I think this is because this is so small and this was bigger, but it did work perfectly and it's squared up beautifully. That's block lock. When I, in the description for block lock, I'm going to actually put a link to the company's video on how to do this because I think it will be easier for you to see them do it. because I had a little bit of difficulty, but I'm just learning how to get this one to work for me as a lefty. And so it worked beautifully when I used it. And if you already use the block lock, tell us what you think about it in the comments. Because like I know, I have a friend who won't use anything but this ruler to square up her blocks. And it does, it works beautifully. So that's block lock. Now we've got two squared up. Now, this third one, this is the newest one that I'm going to show you that I've been using, called Quilt in a Day. I know it's a little hard to see. Let me see. Can I grab a piece of, oh, here, I know what I'll do. I've got my little piece of canvas here. There, now you can see this a lot better. In fact, let me just bring in the other ones too. You can see them better in here too. There's your block lock. This is for a 6.5 inch, yeah, I believe. And so there is your channel that locks onto your seam. So you can see the frosted area is locked right onto that seam. It's not going anywhere now. So that's that one. And here are the OmniGrid ones. You can see the coloring on these better against the white. Okay. And this is the last one I want to show you, the Quilt in a Day from Eleanor Burns. Now, this is a 6.5 triangle square up ruler. You'll notice that it's a little different on each side. On this side, it's 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, all the way to 6.5. And on this side, it's 1 to 6. So you can kind of choose where you need to put it. Are you squaring up to a whole number plus a 1/2 inch for your seam allowance? This side works perfect. If you need to square up a little differently along the line or to a full inch, this side works for you. I know that when I saw these online, there were smaller ones. I don't know if there's one bigger, but if you've got a 1/2 square triangle that's bigger than 6 inches, that's a big 1/2 square triangle. I mean, a 6-inch 1/2 square triangle is big. So that's the one I chose. I chose to get the big one because I can go I can get into well, who's ever going to do a 1/2 inch square up, but a 1.5 inch, if you're doing a mini quilt, you could do a 1.5 inch square pretty easily. All righty, so let me get that back out of the way. Now, with this one, the difference is you don't pre-press like with these, they were pre-pressed, right? You don't do that with this. Once you've got your 1/2 square triangle done, let me grab a pen here. I'm going to come across, see if I can get this so you can see it better. I'm going to do a dark line across. This is my stitched line. This is where I've stitched it. And it's important that you see that. Can you see that a little bit better there? Yeah. Yeah, you can see that a lot better. Okay. So what you do with this one is, so I want to square up to 4 inches. That's what I've done with my other ones, right? So, let's see, can I do a 4.5 on this one? No, let's do a 3.5. Let's go down to 3.5 so you can really see it. Okay, so what I want to do is I find my 3.5 here. I've got my triangle, my 1/2 square triangle here. I find my 3.5 here, my 3.5 inch line, and I'm going to place this line right on my sewing line, not here at the bottom. So I know we want to think, oh, we put it right there at the bottom. You're going to get a smaller block that way because the trick is to place this on the seam line, just like that. Make sure your point is at the top. So I kind of like to use a mark on my cutting mat just so that I can eye it up and make sure it's all the same. And then all you do is cut just like that. and you're done. Should have used my rotating mat for that. And you're done. You now have a 3.5 inch. Let me press it open quickly. And there you go. Let me get rid of these dog ears. And so this one you kind of square up before you press, but there we are. So that one was using the Omni Grid. That one is using the block lock. And this one is using the Quilt in a Day by Eleanor Burns. All three work perfectly. It is truly, let me pull the camera back over. It's truly your choice, okay? Whatever you like. Like I said, my friend who uses block lock, totally team block lock, nothing else. My friend who I learned about the Quilt in the Day is totally team Quilt in the Day, won't use anything else. I have always been kind of the more traditional, but to be honest, I think I'm going to now set these aside for a little while and use the block lock and the Quilt in the Day more often. And I'm just telling you, I think I'm going to be team Quilt in a Day. I love doing the squaring up before I even press them open, because it just went. So I did a little block the other night, and I had to square up probably 8 blocks within it, 8 small half square triangles, and it went boom, 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 really quick. So I found this, I think the reason I find this one easier too is because this doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed. And I think the people that make block lock would tell you it doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed. And now that I know how to do it, I would say it doesn't either. But with my left hand, I just, because I have to look at the numbers upside down, I found it, for me, a bigger challenge to get used to this one. But now that I know how to use it, I am going to use it more often for sure. Because there's a lot of times where I've already pressed things open and all, and I'm done and think, oh, and I look at a block and go, you know, did I forget to do that one? Did I forget to square that up? In that case, I'm going to pull out this rather than this. So I think these are my 2 new favorites, but I'm leaning towards Quilt in a Day. And that's just me. You might go, oh, no, 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 I'm not going to do anything except the traditional way. It's the only way I want to do it. Right on. That's for you. Good. Isn't it great that we have choices like that, that we can do whatever suits the way we like to work? And that's kind of what I want to do here at Good Gadgets, is to kind of just show you your options. And don't go choosing what I chose because I liked it, because you might not like it. I'll be honest, when I bought my block lock, I bought it because my friend loved it so much. And I thought, and the way she was doing it, boom, 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 it was so super easy. It didn't come easy for me. It is easier now, but you saw me. I still had to kind of think about it a little bit because I'm still in that learning process. But this other one just came super easy for me, but that might not be the way for you. So do choose the option that works for you, because that's the right option, right? All right, folks. I hope that was helpful in some little way. Don't forget to tune in again next week for another episode of Good Gadgets, where I think we're going to talk about some more template rulers, another variety of template rulers that I just love. Okay. I love them both. They're both completely required, in my opinion. They're 2 things that I won't live without. So I think that's coming next week. Have a great weekend, because it's actually Friday today. It's been a long week, so I'm getting this out a few days. I like to get this video out in the middle of the week, but it's coming out on Friday today. Sorry. But have a great weekend. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Don't forget Sunday. I'll be posting the new episode of Sew in Common Sunday, my little quilting diary video journal. You'll see the next block that I'm making for that, and we'll talk about it some. Okay. See you soon, and Patches and Pieces again, always on Monday. Bye now. Take care, everybody.